Hello, you mischievous rascals. It's your Captain Peru once more at PeRuPlays, broadcasting from the most stunningly beautiful island in the world, Cyprus. Welcome back to Chips at Sea, and you've likely already observed from the title, or as you can observe from the thumbnail, we are venturing into uncharted waters, metaphorically speaking, a slight play on words. We are embarking on the beta version for the very first time, and it's an open beta where you have the opportunity to explore and experiment with some new features. That is precisely what we want to examine today and see what new elements will be arriving with the forthcoming update, what is already functioning, and what is being offered. So we have returned to our home base, which is Rest. As I assured you during our last session, here you can observe another Tier 3 vessel, specifically the MacGyver 3, and it is indeed a combination. It is not merely a service vessel, but it is also a passenger vessel, as you will shortly witness. I have previously provided you with a brief overview in one of the recent episodes, so today we will conduct a concise tour once more, albeit slightly abbreviated, even though it is not an extensive tour here either. We possess our passenger deck located on the initial level, and in the forthcoming future, NPCs are anticipated to be actively present here. For instance, if we undertake passenger missions, which are reportedly already accessible in this beta version, you are required to pick them up, bring them on board, and subsequently, they sit here and enjoy the ride. I hope we get someone for the service here. It's still empty, okay, but I think it will be fine. Yes, this is the lower deck. As I said, there's not much to see here. Well, that is precisely why we are going to depart from here immediately and take another brief look at the control center, specifically the cockpit, which I have previously shown to you. However, there is something novel in the beta version. You can observe it illuminating now. All the buttons are now distinctly and visually marked, allowing you to see at first glance what is functional and what you can operate. And I believe you now also have a clearly visible function description. You don't necessarily always have to zoom in to observe the function, as you can perceive it right here at an initial glance, which I believe is an exceptionally good concept. And yes, I think we can maintain it in that manner. However, all of this is quite nice, but it's futile without a mission. I could, of course, maneuver a few items around with this apparatus here with you. You know, small cargo can be transported with this equipment, and you can actually unload it on the front deck. Can I actually navigate around here, or have I gotten myself into a predicament? Indeed, as I previously mentioned, it is possible to store cargo on the foredeck. Let's proceed onward from this point. I appear to be utterly disoriented today. You take a brief hiatus and suddenly you're out of practice. So the door is closed and we proceed this way, correct? As I was mentioning, here on the foredeck, you can observe the cargo zone subtly marked. You can store XS and S packages here and effectively deliver cargo with the ship. However, as I mentioned earlier, we've already transported more than enough cargo. I am genuinely curious about our current location. Is there a way for me to descend somewhere? Assistance, I am seeking guidance on whether I should descend or if it is necessary to go down the rear section. Please do not inform me that I must retrace my steps once more. Indeed, as I previously mentioned, we desire to operate and deliver something distinct at this moment, so it would be quite pleasant if we indeed had a... Oh, I see, here is the way down. If we indeed had a passenger assignment prepared at this moment, let's examine it. So, what was certainly the situation in the overall, let's say, early access version, was that this vessel could already be functional, but there are no assignments designated for this ship. Nevertheless, it appears somewhat different in the beta version. I hope we now also have a passenger assignment. So far I haven't had the luck, but I'm hoping for today. Yes, here we have the usual, lots and lots of cargo deliveries. Here, we can already observe the swift catch precision anglers designated for our fishing vessel's whale watching activities, which was not feasible before with the Tier 3 ship. Now, you are able to accomplish it with this excellent piece of equipment. However, during the whale watching, no NPCs make an appearance. I've already conducted a test, so we can save that time. Let's continue working diligently here. Are there any passenger assignments available yet? Or did they perhaps promise us more than they could deliver? No, I believe we still need to wait a bit longer. Okay, I'm a bit disappointed now. It's a bit of a shame, right? I don't want to say disappointed because it's an open beta. It is possible that they have temporarily removed it to potentially make enhancements. As I mentioned before, that's simply the nature of a beta, but I believe we will be able to do that soon. What you are definitely able to do now in the current beta version is that you can indeed get the crew members on board. They are currently operational, but up to this point, solely on the Tier 3 fishing vessel, which is the larger one. Therefore, I would suggest that given we are unable to transport any passengers at this moment, I am uncertain about how this operates and we need to determine it ourselves with the crew scheduling on the Tier 3 vessel. I might entirely mess this up, but let's just give it a try. So, there is the good piece in the shipyard. Now we have to quickly switch the boat. So, swiftly choose the appropriate vessel, and here it is, the John Vetter 3, not the Noah 3, the fishing vessel, exactly. So, a bit of preliminary information. Collaborating with the NPCs is reportedly feasible, but solely with longlines, so for the time being, exclusively with longlines. Consequently, we will promptly verify. It's already equipped, which is definitely good. We ought to verify once more to ensure that we still possess a sufficient quantity of materials on board or within storage, which includes long lines as well as bait, both of which we will require. I notice a package of mackerel situated in this spot. Wonderful. That should certainly be adequate for a long line. On board the ship, we have it along with the one that holds 500 hooks. We possess the steel hook, which I have currently packed onto the vessel. You will understand later why this is necessary, as a colleague is expected to assume responsibility, and if I have it, he will be unable to take it. So, to make it very brief, but we will come back to this when the time comes. So, I will listen carefully. Just to ensure everything is secure, I will purchase a bit more bait right now. So, observe, the colleagues are already on board. Notice there are our 3 mischievous individuals. So I've employed 2 laborers and 1 skilled technician, and the technician is naturally more responsible for the ship's technology if something goes awry. Or so, and the other 2 are just wandering around aimlessly because they don't have an assignment yet. Those are our worker hands, right? They're the ones who should, for example, reel in the line for us, maybe clean the fish, things like that, right? I am genuinely intrigued to observe how this situation unfolds, and I am truly quite exhilarated that we now have company on board, you know. It's genuinely delightful to commence moving a bit here so we can make some progress. Yes, indeed, I was just a little bit perplexed for a moment. You can't see it, but I had a metaphorical question mark on my face just now, you know. Nevertheless, I must acquire the bait at the fishery, so let's examine it more closely. Mackerel bait has consistently demonstrated its effectiveness, so I'll choose 3. Come on. Nothing is inexpensive here. Let's select 3 substantial blocks. That should suffice. We're merely embarking on a brief excursion here, in quotes, so I'm uncertain about the duration we'll require, as it's always somewhat of a journey out to the open sea for fishing. I'll abbreviate it if it becomes too lengthy, because it's tedious for you to simply observe me moving along. Well, you can't truly discuss zipping with this vessel. It progresses more leisurely. It possesses power, but it lacks speed. That's just the nature of these large fishing ships. So, the power is present, and let's hope we don't encounter excessively rough seas, and that we can at least catch 1 or 2 fish. Not sure what this is. I believe, good morning, we shall promptly prepare the bait as we typically do, or hold on, is that something our team handles? Ready? Oh, indeed, 1 bucket is already fully equipped. Here we have 2 more. Please wait a moment. I would like to initially observe if our personnel performs this task here. Hold on, we shall attempt it. Now, let's proceed into the organization team. At this moment, there is an assignment, and this particular assignment is designated for the respective ship. However, we have already completed that task, so there is currently nothing further to be done. Here are our 3. As I mentioned, we currently don't have more. We have 1 technician and 2 workers, so here we already have an attempt where I unfortunately failed miserably. We will remove this now to ensure that the workspace is completely free. There truly isn't any detailed instruction yet on how this crew diagram operates. That means I'm quite literally fishing in the dark a bit. Please hold on for just a moment. Bait hooks with herring bait, with pollock, and with mackerel. Therefore, I shall hand this over to the first colleague here. Aha, and he has already willingly accepted it. Now let's take a quick look to see if the balut will show up here soon, and do that. We'll check that out now. Is that him? Yes. And he indeed places it into the designated tray. So that is functioning already, and I believe that is quite satisfactory. The question now, of course, is whether the rest also works. At this moment, we have a second container present here, my friend. Does it automatically get filled with bait as well? There he is once more. No, he's continuing onward. Alright, that implies we need to, well, I must estimate a little bit here, correct? As I previously mentioned, I'm not inside there just yet. Indeed, typically you use mackerel as bait to catch mackerel. And at this moment, I am required to provide him with the directive 2 times. I am somewhat perplexed at the moment. We ought to have a sufficient amount of bait after all. What? Hold on a moment. No lang. What exactly can a Langlanenschießer accomplish? What precisely is a Langlanenschießer? Please hold on for a moment. I believe I have an understanding of what he is referring to with the term long-line shooter. I am quite certain, my friends, that this is indeed it. Yes, this is the long-line shooter. That was a term I wasn't familiar with. Okay, so that we can use this term in the future, this is a long-line shooter. So we are currently casting off the long line. Once it reaches its full capacity, our staff members are unable to attach any additional bait. Therefore, at this moment, we do not have any bait available because, in my opinion, it is currently on the ship. Nevertheless, in any case, that has already been successful. I don't want to cast more than 1 or 2 baits right now, as I said, because we first need to see if and how this actually works. I think it's nice. We finally have life here on the ship. Am I good? Alright, let's take a brief glance. Let's get this container slightly tidied up so that we're prepared to set off. We don't require the interior illumination, exterior lighting, or deck illumination just yet. Certainly we can maintain it in that manner. Initially, let's arrange to have the sonar positioned here, as it will be necessary for us this time. Naturally, we also have the autopilot system. Yes, something's up there. Indeed, that already possesses some quite pleasant moments. Everything is proceeding exceptionally well. Now we truly require a suitable fishing location, correct? Let's take a closer look at this situation. Here's a location. It seems to be somewhat overfished, doesn't it? We've got it. This is a bit far out here, right? And it's not even worth it in terms of percentages. So, pollock, we would have 20% there. How does it look here? It actually looks a bit better here, because most of it is in the single-digit range. Well, there's still 10% here, 7 there, but it goes down to 7. Here we definitely have everything over 10%. Yes, that's also the only thing that is actually, well, should I say within reach. Then we shall certainly take that into consideration as well. Alright, let's promptly plan out a route. I think it will be interesting on the return trip as well. I assume they have managed it like with Chips, etc., the predecessor fishing Barenzi and the successor, so that the colleagues complete all the work during the return trip. So here, gutting fish and things like that. I think that's how it works. So I think the course isn't bad at all. However, I have no idea in what order this is supposed to happen. I really hope we find something useful here in the help section. So, Langline, there is absolutely nothing whatsoever regarding the colleagues here at this particular moment. Establishing administration, communication, no, those are competencies. We do not possess a chapter on that. We have one concerning the personnel. Do we really not have a chapter? Wait a minute, fish production. Here, correct. So this isn't directly associated with the personnel, but ultimately they are required to do it, or I desire them to do it. So on level 3 fishing vessels, you are obligated to gut, sort, and stack the fish. So these are the 3 main tasks: gutting, sorting, and stacking before you can sell everything. So when retrieving the long line, you have to place the fish either on the table or in the blood bin. Once the blood container is completely full, open the hatch located beneath the blood container to release the fish into the production line below. Oh my goodness, I sincerely hope I can remember all of this. So, the fish need to go into the blood box at the gutting line, aim the lever at the feed fish box to get the fish onto the conveyor belt. Good heavens, I think we need to go through this step by step, friends. There's no other way. Wow, I can observe that we have quite a bit to accomplish, so ideally our colleagues will provide assistance. Alright, let's get the container moving. Indeed, it does rattle somewhat, and you can distinctly perceive the power, even though, as previously mentioned, it is not particularly rapid. It certainly possesses significant power, yet I find it to be somewhat sensitive. If you happen to make mistakes during the docking process, you can swiftly incur a few percentage points of damage. I perceive it as somewhat unbalanced at the moment with an excessive amount of damage. I hope that aspect will be adjusted somewhat. Naturally, action should have consequences, and it is essential to work with a degree of precision here, that's evident. But we certainly don't want to intimidate the newcomers, do we? Certainly, we are presently on our way, so let us promptly proceed inside and activate our autopilot system. I will achieve that here by utilizing the keyboard. Apologies, we are now running quite close, and everything else is also exceptionally pleasant. Off we go on this exhilarating journey. Well, exhilarating as one might describe it. As I said, the trip will take a little longer, which means I will shorten it a bit for us, but of course, we will enjoy the scenery here as well, especially now with the crew on deck. I believe it already feels significantly more organic, doesn't it, when you have individuals on board. I am hopeful that in the near future there will also be personnel available for the cargo vessels, as there's quite a substantial amount to manage there, such as crane operation and other tasks. I would be very pleased to have an additional helping hand there on the Tier 3 service. Passenger ship for the fire extinguishing cannon, they have those there too, and of course for the guest area at the bar we also need staff there because I can't do everything as the captain. So I just want to wait a little bit until we are out of the harbor area, then we'll pick up some speed. Nevertheless, I am of the opinion that it is an extraordinarily beautiful vessel, and I find the rhythmic thumping sound of the engines on this specific model to be exceptionally pleasant. Therefore, I am confident that we can commence increasing our speed gradually, just a slight increment. We are eager to make some significant progress here as well. Indeed, the colleagues are somewhat bored at the moment, but they should take a bit more rest. Hopefully, there will be an abundance of work later on. So, in the meantime, we just took a quick glance at it. Let's return to the personnel overview and examine what they are actually capable of doing, or rather, what we still need to do ourselves. It's not unimportant, and we have some time for that now. So, what exactly are our colleagues engaged in on the Tier 3 fishing vessel, ship, or whatever it may be called? They are gutting fish and sorting fish. What else do we have? Production line transfer. I believe that is the one with the hatch, where the item descends onto the processing area. That's what I think. Masters, what additional elements do we have? Retrieving the long lines. He even retrieves those for us, which indicates we no longer have to dash down like crazy and hope to reach the winch in time. But he doesn't retrieve the fish. That part you still have to handle yourselves, it seems. Certainly, alright, So that implies we still must prepare ourselves with the hook once more because, hold on a second, we absolutely require the hook in one manner or another, and here is the gutting knife, which we definitely need. Why am I unable to place it on the boat? In any case, our employee will definitely need the knife. I am unable to place it on the boat at this moment, so I'll temporarily leave it at the company. I sincerely hope this solution works. It absolutely has to work, because otherwise it would be quite inconvenient, as it wouldn't be of any use to us. In case of doubt, if that doesn't work, we'll have to clean the fish ourselves again, of course. So we are gradually bidding farewell to rust and are steadily but surely reaching the expansive open sea. So let's apply a bit more power here. Full throttle more or less, not excessively, but 80% is quite considerable. Yes, and you can see that quite clearly on the right, on the speedometer. It's not that much. We are at 80% power, and we're just at about 12 knots, a little over 12 knots at the peak, maybe 13 with a tailwind, so it won't be more at 100%. We can swiftly conduct a test. Currently, we have tranquil seas, and if we increase to 100%, yes, 14 or 15 knots as I mentioned, with a tailwind possibly a bit more, but not significantly more. So we'll stay at 79, which should be enough for stable operation. As I mentioned earlier, we are not the swiftest at the moment, so the journey will require a few additional minutes. This implies that we will make a brief time leap, and we shall reconvene shortly when we set sail. See you soon. So, dear friends, we are approaching our intended destination. I have activated the sonar on the lower left screen display, and at this moment, we are able to observe not only the seabed, but also the initial schools of fish moving around down there. I shall wait until we achieve a somewhat more advantageous position, and subsequently, we shall proceed to cast a long line. Let us allow the seabed to settle a bit more profoundly, and as you can observe, we already have schools of fish moving in this area. This indicates that we shall decelerate slightly. Do they also proceed to cast the lines at this moment? No, they only retrieve one. We still have to cast ourselves, okay? So I would say let's get going. Look, the first schools of fish are already coming. It's time for us to get active. So yes, the captain has to handle it himself, right? That's how it should be. He has to do a little something for his money. The door is securely closed, and eventually I will require a detailed map for all of the ships. Mom, you are standing somewhat inconveniently in this particular spot. I need to get to work here for a little while. We still need to cast off ourselves. Let's move forward to initiate the process and get it underway. So, we have a relatively smooth journey. It has descended into the Earth previously. Well, I will likely do the same by the conclusion of the episode. I'm uncertain if this will be immediately successful because, as I mentioned, I'm not yet thoroughly acquainted with how the entire process functions in terms of sequence and how I delegate it to my colleagues, but we're here today to at least begin understanding it together. Therefore, let's supply it with a bit more supplementary power. Indeed, the sea has invigorated itself somewhat, as if dear Neptune desires to present us with a challenge. However, it remains within our capabilities to manage, and I sincerely hope, naturally, that we will encounter relatively tranquil waters when we eventually bring everything back in. So, at this moment, our navigation has been completed, which signifies that Dad is now operating the vehicle manually once more. So, we will now cast a line as a test for the time being. That should be enough for us for now. It's just to see if and how it works. So with the baiting process, the guys have already successfully managed that. Bam, there's the next broth. Halftime. Let's quickly check the sonar here. Yeah, look, there's still a lot going on here, but it would be funny if nothing comes of it. So I just want to quickly verify if I have absolutely everything prepared for when I require it later on. I would take hold of the hook, which I will be needing shortly. Let's quickly grab it here. So, and now let's wait until the last buoy goes out. Or rather, until the long line is completely deployed. So there we proceed. The long line is successfully set, which is quite excellent. Therefore, that implies we'll decelerate a little here and then take a brief pause, correct? We must allow the smaller fish a bit of time to nibble on the line, correct? This way, they will bite. That means we will now let 17, 18 hours pass by, and I sincerely hope that the weather is somewhat kind to us so that it doesn't become such an ordeal here. So 17 hours. So how does it look here? Well, not much better. The colleague is already at the railing here, not throwing up. Otherwise, he has to clean the deck himself. I don't joke around with such things here. Alright, we must swiftly return to the map since it is quite evident that we need to head back to the buoy immediately. Do I still have it within sight? Indeed, we'll execute a slight turn prior to setting off. I'm about to issue the command to commence reeling in the liner now, with the hope that it functions properly. My expectation is that the colleague will initiate reeling in the long line as soon as we are situated within the designated green area. This is the designated area marker that we are required to reach. I am hopeful that as soon as this area marker transitions to green, he will automatically commence retrieving the line. So, we have everything prepared. Great, the bet is on. So here on the right, we can already see this red circle. You know, this is our retrieval area. It obviously needs to turn green so we can reel in. And as I said, I hope the colleague is ready soon. Well, I more or less have the hook positioned at my feet. Then I'll swiftly rush down, because as I mentioned earlier, they do retrieve the line, but naturally not from the hook itself. We have to manage that part ourselves. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. This is indeed quite a precarious situation here. We need to turn here now. There's no other choice. I hope the box doesn't give out on me. I can see that I need a bit more power, but we shouldn't overdo it here, because otherwise we'll end up floating too high in the water. We certainly don't want that. Indeed, it possesses a turning radius comparable to that of a bread box. This exquisite piece right here is a fishing boat, and a fishing vessel is naturally a distinct scenario when compared to a cargo or transport ship. So there is our buoy bobbing so cheerfully up and down in the water. We need to ensure we get relatively close, and then the colleague can promptly begin bringing it in. So folks, let's hope this works out. Where's the buoy? Oh god, the waves are making me nervous. This is not going to be so straightforward, so kindly bear with me if I happen to make any mistakes here. I am not an expert fisherman, and I am stating it openly and honestly as it is. Certainly I wish to demonstrate everything to you here. Thus I shall withstand the ridicule and mockery with both dignity and gracefulness. Alright, so at this particular moment, let's make a slight adjustment. That doesn't seem too unfavorable. Hold on for a moment, we must hasten now. We have to descend swiftly, because as soon as you reel in the fishing line, not just the hook, it's indeed time to proceed naturally. Indeed, so that we arrive down there promptly and do not allow any fish to escape from our grasp in this situation. Oh, do we nearly need to apply the brakes here at this moment? No, a little more. Where exactly is the buoy located? Don't waste any time. There's the buoy right there. Come on, you are capable of doing it. Certainly, begin reeling it in. Yes, indeed. So, and at this very moment, let's promptly make our way out of this location swiftly. Oh god, it's getting tense now, it's getting tense. Dad needs to go down, Dad needs to go down. Everyone, Move aside. The boss is currently on his way to this location. Ensure that everyone appears presentable. So where exactly is this place? Alright, we are in need of the hook. We are in need of the hook. Oh god, over here. So it's still somewhat disorganized, isn't it? During the operation, now kindly equip the hook. Ah, there it is, the very first fish. So, and this one goes up here, right? Yes, indeed. I genuinely hope that I'm performing this task correctly at this very moment. I honestly have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm moving forward with enthusiasm and determination. Come on, come on. Are you going to join us? Are you taking the bait? It appears to be accurate. It simply instructed us to place the fish into the bleeding tank. So we will have a brief period to catch our breath. Once the fish are securely on board, we'll take a moment to observe how the entire process is progressing. Oh my goodness, didn't he comprehend it? Indeed, I was just about to mention that we absolutely do not want to lose our valuable goods here. Oh, alright, this situation isn't amusing anymore. The waves are quite intense. Everyone, please don't play around with me. Where is the line? Is that the one? Did I overlook something? No boy found for retrieval? Does that mean it's over? It's over. Alright. You really need to emerge from the ground, young man, as it won't be beneficial even if you're feeling embarrassed. Indeed, being shy is not suitable in this situation. Nevertheless, the lady is absent. Oh, there is quite a lot happening at the moment. Therefore, open the hatch to send the fish to the production line. It indicated that, so let's proceed with it now. They were no longer present. They were no longer present. Alright, at this point, we genuinely need to find a way to descend down there. Please hold on for a moment. Oh my goodness, what exactly are you doing over there? Indeed, a free-footed moonwalk. Not even Michael Jackson himself could have accomplished that. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So precisely at this location we have the conveyor belt. Pull the lever to transport fish onto the conveyor belt. Alright. Alright, so at this moment we have a pair of fish on the conveyor belt. Now let's proceed to give the instruction. At this point, they require gutting. If my understanding is accurate, that process should occur in this area. As you can observe, there remain a few minor aspects that are not functioning flawlessly just yet. But as I mentioned earlier, it's still in the beta phase. Let's mark it off. Everything is organized appropriately. Well, let's proceed with gutting initially. Alright. At this point, I'm quite curious to observe whether it emerges from the ground, or if another individual arrives to manage the fish in this location. Greetings! Is there anyone currently present at home? Hello? Fish are lingering around here. I could indeed assign the second individual to manage this transport order. I am confident that when he operates the lever, the fish that we have not yet gutted will progress forward. Kindly hold on for a brief moment as we move forward with the transition of the production line. So, fish not found. Oh, because we have already brought it down, correct? Yes, that makes sense. There's a certain logic to it. However, something still doesn't seem quite right here. You ought to come down here. That doesn't appear to be good, buddy. Certainly, at this particular moment, Father needs to arrive here quite promptly once again. Alright, so I genuinely envisioned that my colleagues would assist me somewhat, and not merely linger around idly. Divine assistance is forthcoming. Please hold on for a brief moment. Now, of course, we need the carving knife here. I gave it to the company. Now I have it on me. At this moment, it is indeed the appropriate time. Is it possible for me to hand it over to a colleague, considering that he ought to possess a knife as well, correct? We can't do anything with this colleague. I can say that now. Oh dear, what action should we undertake at this particular moment? It appears that no one seems to be arriving here either. I have a sneaking suspicion that the colleague hanging here in the ceiling is actually the comrade who's supposed to be gutting them. Come on, folks, let's not waste any more time. Then I shall undertake the task myself, if it becomes absolutely necessary to manage everything on my own. At the very least, the retrieval operation was executed with success, and that was entirely satisfactory. Thus, I shall proceed to gut this particular specimen with both a keen eye and a sharp knife. Observe, this is already appearing quite promising. Is there another one approaching? Greetings, and what is the current situation? Attempting to gut the fish at an incorrect location, either at the start or the conclusion. Haven't I already accomplished that? It is already open, everyone. I am experiencing a bit of confusion at the moment, so we have already opened it here. Greetings, colleague. Well, it should not return to the transport table. It's just, where is it heading now? It's proceeding over there. Hold on a moment. Is that the colleague accountable for storage? Wait. Yes, as I mentioned, I need to get accustomed to this a bit. Okay, the green light indicates. I trust he's executing it correctly. Alright, let's proceed with the next fish here. Greetings, Mr. from our team. Let's continue with a swift cut. You all aren't suggesting we've only captured 2 fish here, are you? Or something along those lines? Place the fish back on the conveyor belt. Yes, there it goes once more. And the colleague should sort it. So now we clear the fog. We still have fish. Okay, I believe a hint of comprehension is emerging, although I find it a bit unconventional, but we'll gradually adapt to it. As I mentioned, it's not flawless yet, correct? It's still, yes, a Peter. So next fish, bam, we'll accomplish it. So knife ready, where are you? Because I would have been astonished only 2 fish cannot be. So these 2 go into storage, and the colleague here should indeed be occupied. What's that lung doing there? Okay, he appears to be engaged in something. I'll allow them to proceed. Is it the final one? Let's take a closer look. It's undoubtedly a significant one here. The colleague, I must acknowledge. Just a quick inspection. It should be of superior quality indeed. Premium as we are used to. Was that all? No, why? Why did he only release that single one, probably due to the fish's size? I am unsure why he only released that specific one. I'll finish the rest of the fish here now. This might take a little while, so we'll reconvene at the next step. Temporal leap. Indeed, dear friends, the fish have all arrived here now, and they are accumulating somewhat on the sorting table. Although the sorting system is present, I do not really observe any significant activity. Let's take a brief glance here to ascertain what is occurring and whether it even indicates that it is functioning. Certainly, I would appreciate receiving an update regarding whether Mr. Anderson is effectively fulfilling his responsibilities here or not. I am not observing any significant activity. He consistently proceeds there and subsequently turns around. Therefore, no, simply leave it as it is. Then Father will handle it on his own. Well, I'm still not particularly quick with the sorting procedure here, and indeed, the small illustrations here are sufficient for me to categorize the fish accurately. I sincerely hope it turns out well the way I'm managing it. We can already articulate that it is naturally quite delightful that the NPCs are present here now, but they still have a significant distance to traverse before they can execute their tasks flawlessly. As I previously mentioned, the sole aspect that has functioned with complete success thus far has been the collection process, so there is absolutely nothing to criticize. Alternatively, the colleague who was assigned the responsibility to clean the fish has inexplicably disappeared. That is undoubtedly one approach to avoid work, and the others did not make a substantial contribution either. Yes, but a man or captain has to do it himself, so now we have stored them. What can we do now? What do we still need to do? Let's take a quick look. This is new territory for me as well. So, as I mentioned earlier, please do not be taken aback if I find myself needing to return to the logbook from time to time, as though I was still working here. Nobody did it, inconsiderate folks, sorry. The question now, of course, is how we are going to sell all this stuff at the harbor, whether we just go to the store and sell them, or if we somehow have to get these crates out with a crane, I don't know, no idea. Trying makes you smart. Today we're doing the project Youth Researchers, or well, Fisher Researchers, something along those lines. I believe we should definitely have another discussion with the crew once again. He persistently stands around on the ladder while the other one is progressively sinking into the ground, and this lady over here hasn't truly contributed much either. You can observe the initial stages of it, but there is certainly still ample room for enhancement. Got it, I approach it easily. Like I said, it's a beta version and you have to accept it as is. That's just how a beta is, full of imperfections. Indeed, you certainly obtain an initial impression, which is quite pleasant as well. Therefore, we shall now chart a course for home. Yes, and subsequently we will ensure that we dispose of all the fishing-related items. And what is even more exhilarating is what this delightful little fishing expedition has delivered to us. So here we have Rust once again, and then I would recommend proceed and fire away. Here we are. We are also in a favorable position, which is excellent. Now we just need to get home safely. She remains somewhat jittery in this situation, which implies I won't be able to accelerate back at full throttle. We must cautiously and carefully feel our way forward in this context. We have the waves directly at our side, ensuring they do not topple us over. Well, at least the NPCs can enjoy the scenic view. Yes, you should approach it with humor, as I said earlier, so I don't want to judge too quickly. It is a beta, and a beta is precisely there for this purpose, to iron out such things with feedback from the community. To summarize the entire situation, you currently have personnel exclusively on the Tier 3 fishing vessel within the beta version. Now, I also comprehend why they are not present on the other boats yet, because as I mentioned earlier, they are not yet performing all the tasks they are intended to execute. It could be that I might have made an operational mistake here or there. If you've already tested the beta and see that I've done something wrong, please let me know. Please feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section. I'm eager to learn and quite curious. Indeed, we are currently on our journey to Rus. We will meet there again shortly, and then we shall see about selling the fish. Initially, we will need to check how and how much we can obtain for it. In that sense, see you soon. And just like that, we have returned to our home port once more. We are arriving at Rust once again. Sure, we'll dock soon, and then check what the fishing trip brought us. Yes, with the NPCs it's a bit of a thing. Work isn't their life, you can't really put it that way. It's something that can be improved, I'd say. It might be that we simply encountered some rather unfortunate circumstances, that the game experienced a minor glitch. And perhaps next time I'm contemplating whether we should consider taking a brief hiatus for a week or two with training chips, but let's observe if and what transpires. Like if passenger orders emerge for the Tier 3 service ship, that would undoubtedly be an endeavor we could undertake. The dear Lassa, with whom I was recently out and about, might be interested in doing a stream together, so let's see how we can coordinate that. Perhaps he'll reach out, and then we can arrange something to showcase the multiplayer in action. So I'm almost becoming a bit too slow. I prefer to dock as close as feasible to the fishery. Thus far, I've never had success docking. I've consistently dented the ship. I don't know. I lack the finesse, the gentle touch for it. At the moment, it doesn't appear too bad. Let's see how it unfolds. No docking space available. Don't mess with me now, especially in the beta. What was that? I've witnessed ships docked really poorly, but this defies description. Okay, now we're in a really awkward spot in a tight space. Let's see if I can somehow maneuver this around here. It was so clear on the last meter something like this happens. You know what? Why do we have insurance, right? I'll just get the radio out. We're not going to let this get to us. We'll just have ourselves towed in nicely. We've got the spare change. Oh god, the repair cost will be 40%. Oh my gosh, sorry, there's no sugarcoating it. Alright, let's turn everything off here first. Oh god, I didn't expect this with the turn that we'd have a flip over here. Oh man, okay, as I mentioned, with the open beta, you have to anticipate anything. The colleague is already coming over, so caring to see if anything happened to this captain. Thank you, I'm fine. Let's disembark the ship now, and yes, let's get down, please. So colleagues, is everyone doing all right? Is everything completely fine? Apologies, nature seems to be causing a bit of a stir here. Now, we have to walk a little further because he positioned us ahead, which is rather annoying. Thankfully, we've managed to earn a few million with the fish farm, haven't we? Well, we additionally have the insurance coverage, you know? You receive a specific number of complimentary towing operations, and we have an ample amount remaining, so I simply proceeded and utilized it since we are able to. Why is it not feasible? Why am I incapable of selling the fish? Oh god, now the best part is probably coming. I can already see it. No, we probably have to fiddle our way out of here with the crane, right? Could that be? I hope that didn't cost us the fish. That's the other thing that's on my mind right now. Alright, let's promptly conduct a thorough examination of the inventory. Precisely where is the fish situated? Oh everyone, right now I'm really starting to feel anxious here. Please do not seriously inform me that the fish has vanished, so there are some lingering around, but I am unable to do anything with you present here at this particular moment. So, how exactly do we manage to get them out at this moment? How do we get them out now? So hold on a moment, do we truly need to utilize that material, but in what manner? The inquiry isn't centered around the method of utilizing the materials, as we are capable of managing that aspect. Nevertheless, where might one identify a hatch that is accessible for opening, apart from this specific one here, which is precisely the gutting table? I mean, where exactly should the fish be placed? I mean, the room is entirely closed off and there's absolutely no hatch or anything similar. At the very least, I don't see any. We really need to get them out of this place. Please hold on for a moment. Assistance is indeed an excellent term. Fish production. So in the sorting room, every fish must be sorted. We've done that. After the fish has been sorted, you need to store the fish. Press the button on the wall. Just a moment. I overlooked that. Where exactly is the switch located on the wall? Kindly wait for a brief moment, my dear friend, and take those objects off the wall. Where is this switch? Captain on the Edge, the most recent series at PeRuPlays, or is it situated somewhere in this vicinity? I mean, is there an issue with my eyesight? I am unable to perceive anything. Oh my goodness gracious! Oh my goodness gracious! On the wall! Yes, but on which particular wall? Let's continue with unwavering determination. Wall, 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 door, wall, 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 and even more wall. So folks, it seems that either I've been experiencing a vision impairment for many years now, even though I have been wearing corrective glasses. I don't see a switch. The fisherman proclaimed, "Let there be light." However, he was unable to find the switch, as I must assume that the switch is positioned in the storage area. Alternatively, I could certainly try once more to engage the staff here, to determine if they might possibly become active in some way. Do we have something tinkering around on the wall here? This is stressing me out, you know? So, right here, we have this other mechanism which I have never actually witnessed in operation until this moment. This automatic winch control button here, it still somehow does not seem to function. Did I perhaps overlook any control component here? Let's take a look up. This is our searchlight. Over there we have all of our lights, which we do not require. Motor, horn, or whichever one you prefer. There we have our power regulator, right? I am unable to see anything at all. I am unable to see anything, my dear friends. I kindly urge you to feel completely free to provide me with any helpful hints. Please feel free to write in the chat or in the comments section, because I am somewhat at a loss at this moment. Here we have what appears to be a switch, potentially a light switch or something quite similar to that. Where exactly is this switch located? Finish me off, that's definitely the fuse. Here we have the pumps. Turbocharger, oh indeed, absolutely not. I'll personally handle the necessary repairs. Perhaps I can manage it in such a manner that we can conserve a bit of money. It necessitates a little additional time, but it operates quite effectively. We've blown the turbo. Okay, we'll have to repair the rest at the shipyard. In any case, it won't be quite as expensive. It's quite a mystery. To me, a wall is just a wall. These are structures that stand upright and vertical around the area. He continuously keeps bumping into me here all the time with absolutely nothing to do, you know. But he strolls around like a 7 of spades. Please move aside, friends. Is it possible for me to lock them out so I can have just 5 minutes of tranquility? Yes, a miracle. He can go through doors. He can't work, but he can go through doors. No, folks, I don't see, so I need to do a little research. Therefore, I'll tell you next time how it works and what we've got. But I'm searching myself to death here. It's not working at all. Indeed, dear friends, let's reach a somewhat comprehensive conclusion. So, when the gentlemen and ladies join the team, you have the option to employ them, but not every individual necessarily performs the tasks they are expected to accomplish. Regrettably, not as of yet. Certainly, we still need to demonstrate a bit more patience. I will make one last attempt now, namely with the colleague. Wait a minute, what is this here? Yes, I don't need this stuff. I am required to press the button right here for the storage so that it gets properly stored. Everything seems odd. Please hold on a moment. And if it does not provide assistance, then that is simply the way it is. Therefore, I do not wish to prolong it unnecessarily, then I just have to observe. So, production line transfer. Yes. Well, but it is actually like that. We can already see it here. He says fish not found. He is primarily there to transfer the fish from the bleeding table over to the production table. I am genuinely astonished that no one present here possesses any form of warehouse training. There must certainly be warehouse workers present here who possess the ability to store items. Well, I sincerely hope, dear friends, that we will discover this by the next time. I will definitely keep you updated on that. I will continue to play the beta version for you. Otherwise, I'll say goodbye for now. See you next time, and thank you for watching.